Okay.
In case anyone wasn't gonna. Second of all, after I speak, last year I asked people to spontaneously speak for a minute or two. I asked after my speech last year, so maybe people had an excuse, they didn't have time to prepare. So this time I'm telling you before I speak, so you have the whole, I'm not planning on speaking that long, but afterwards I have some volunteers for a minute or two thought, maybe. Whoever wants to volunteer would be greatly appreciated. So, it's actually, my mother told me that I'm speaking, so I said I feel a little bit uncomfortable speaking to a crowd who knew my father so well. What exactly am I gonna necessarily add? So I spoke many times about it, and I felt like this was so I just wanted to focus on a point, or one specific point of that he helped me bring out. I guess I'll bring it out with a different point. That I was walking in the hallway in Lakewood the other day, and walking past me and walking in a different direction, 4 people are walking, like in 4 different directions. All 4 of them standing next to each other were Dickers, grandchildren. And one of them was saying, this is just, I'm the only one who noticed this, because I guess I'm the only one who cares. But I thought it was something to look at. There was 4 Dickers, just by chance. Nobody was talking to anyone, not for bad reasons, but everybody just going their own way, and there were 4 Dickers standing right next to each other, learning in Lakewood. So, one was a Geller. There was a Shimon Geller. There was no, it wasn't. I mean, could be that was the 5th guy. I don't know what he was like. Yeah, no, there are more in the building. I'm just saying, like, by chance, how it could happen. There must be, such a percentage of Dickers, and I mean, there was, I think it was a Nussbaum son-in-law. I just learned who he was like a week ago. He probably has no idea who I am. And then Chaim Dov got his last name. It's Palgum, no? No, so we had the 4 of us. So I was thinking about, what brought about such a event that these 4 just of the many and the so much more there are, just like that's a regular happening in Lakewood. You see, you have all these Weberman, and this was just Dicker. This wasn't including the Weberman branch, and this was really because they went, they basically did their own thing in America, and they see the pairs of that, that everybody stayed from, and everyone stayed, maybe very from, 2 from, whatever you want to call it. But
that's a quote.
What?
That's a quote.
That's a quote from my father, right?
That's what Abba would say.
It starts to the far. Yeah. So just. That's the point that I think that was in the mishpacha for years, and the reward and the payers from that we all maybe could see about how where so many people lost their descendants to assimilation. They went against the tide. They stood up for what was right, and even when it wasn't popular, they held on to the Yiddishkeit in those days. So just this similar, not exactly the same thing with my father. One point I'd bring out about him is that he never. It was almost like when it came to doing the right thing, he was in his own world. That it didn't make a difference what was popular. He didn't make a difference what people would look at. With like in the parsha already, we have at the end of the parsha is Pinchas next week. The rest of it, that was Bar Mitzvah parsha. But Pinchas also, what happened was he had everyone against him, really. He had a circle blocking him from starting up with Cosby and Zimri. The Medrash said there was no, all the Shvatim were began by Isi Ben Puti, that it was just not something that was very popular, but it didn't make a difference because if it's the right thing, like just when my father, he was in a way just like, I don't know how to say it, in his own world. That's how I would say it. He was a friend and a very sociable and very popular, but at the same time he wasn't like, I feel like he was a little bit above the group. Like he did his own thing. He told me once, they invited me to a Super Bowl party. I said, it's not the right thing. I'm not going to not drinking beer with a bunch of guys around the football game. He wasn't necessarily so radical, but he loved football, but he felt that I'm not in it for popularity. I'm in it to do what's right. He would walk around with a tremendous Gemara. He would bring to shul, and everyone would like Chepper, you'd bring this huge Gemara. But he told me, this is how I learn better. It wasn't make a difference. He brought his chassan shas. It was definitely a sight when he would walk in carrying this tremendous chassan shas instead of just taking a shul Gemara. But this is how he learns, and he doesn't mind the cheppering. He would put out these sheets in front of the whole shul. He would come with the sheets, and everyone would tell him, you're the biggest Sheamus manufacturer, the Purim Spiel. They got a whole thing about the Sheamus manufacturing that he's doing, and it was almost like it didn't faze him. It wasn't. He just, I'm doing what I have to do. I have to do what's right. I don't care if it's the popular thing. This he would come on his off days. Maybe the popular thing is to have a good time. He would come to Darche. He would come to learn. He would come. One time he comes and there's a shir koli. So he's wearing he's wearing the one blue shirt in the whole place, like a Where's Waldo game. And then he goes even further, and like in the middle of the shir, he speaks up. I was like sinking lower and lower in my seat. I'm so embarrassed. He has no busha. This is just like, I have a kasha. I'm gonna ask my kasha. I don't care that I'm like, there's 300, however many people, there were 200 people sitting here, and just in his, in doing what was right, just to not to be fazed by anything when it came to just doing the right thing. I'm saying, so hopefully we see by Pinchas that the schar was that what he got for doing such a thing is kunas olam. I'd have thought that maybe the fact that he got kunas olam, an eternal kuna, was because he stood up for that which was eternal over that which was fleeting. It seemed like they were the in at the time. Cosby and Zimri, they had the momentary, but Pinchas was zeicha for going against what was the moment and going and going with that which is taka nitzchias, for choosing nitzchias. So he taka got a bracha of nitzchias. We see this by the mishpacha, that there's such deiros and such nitzchias with when maybe this wasn't popular to do that to be from in America in such days. Hopefully, my father's midah of constantly just doing what was right, not being fazed by what was in or what was popular or something like that. That will hopefully have payers, and hopefully we will all be zeichet to we'll see payers from his standing up for what was right, even at times when it wasn't necessarily popular or easy. So that's my point. And now I give everybody time to think. So hopefully we'll have some volunteers now for a minute or two. So a minute or two, the people will volunteer hopefully.